All right. We're going to add them one at a time, or a couple at a time, just by net. 2. We don't have to acclimate to the water. We have to acclimate to the temperature of the gallery, and everything's the same. The water's identical. Oh, this is a scoop. Oh, jeepers. The angels don't care, and the discus are not hiding. It kind of sucks that every time I add in a scoop, everybody panics. But this could go way better than I thought.
Do a thumbnail.
What? Did you get it?
I think, kind of. I just wanted to get like a scooped one.
I can pose.
Huh?
I can pose for a thumbnail later. I hate posing for thumbnails. So.
Well, it's always good with the net and the fish going in.
Do you know at one time YouTube didn't allow thumbnails and it would just select?
Really?
Yeah, it sucked.
I feel like it could go back to that.
That's it. So, discus are in. And I think everybody was right. It is a splash of color. Obviously, I have hopes that they don't, like, kind of hide a lot, but I can't see it happening. None of the discus are skinny. Obviously, they are a compressed fish, but how you tell if a discus is actually skinny is their foreheads. That's the first sign you'll see. You'll see their foreheads pinched right above their eyes. You want that thick, meaty... Look at this guy. You want it to be thick and meaty, and you want it to kind of look good. The next thing you're going to notice is that their eyes seem way too big for their bodies. Another sign of emaciated fish would, of course, be you might even, especially with discus, see their ribs or their tummies will be sunken. That's when it might get to the point of no return. Let's see where this goes long term, because literally everybody in the tank of any size has now disappeared. Except them over there poking and looking at me. The benefit of this is, of course, we'll come back in 1 week. Oh yeah. This went way better than I thought it was. I thought the Ultims were going to attack them because the Ultim Angels are like monsters. Absolute monsters. No, they all came back out like, oh, is everything okay? So the very next day, I come out here and there's absolutely no discus in sight. Maybe 2 or 3 off to the side, so I defrost some bloodworms. I'm not a massive fan of feeding bloodworms, only because it's like eating ice cream every day. It's technically not great for you, and of course the fish struggle with digesting the skin of the actual bloodworm. However, for video, I wanted the discus to come out to prove that they are in there. And I also wanted to see them. Everybody loved the bloodworms. The tetras loved them. The angelfish loved them. The glass cats went crazy for them. But for me, I stood aside. I wasn't trying to scare anybody. I knew that the discus were going to be a little bit skittish. For the first few days at least. A lot of the times you want to give fish upwards of 2 weeks just to, condition and acclimate to their new environment. I think too many people panic at first, thinking, my fish isn't eating, what should I do? I just got them, they should be just fine, but they're not. We got to give these guys time. Especially in an environment like this where there's plenty of detritus, plenty of algae, plenty of all kinds of stuff, but just didn't want to come out just yet. I started thinking, okay, maybe the Ultims are being bullies. However, when I look at the back of the tank where there is no real amount of plants, where there is not a whole lot going on, the flow in this tank isn't even strong, I started seeing discus, 1 and 2 and 3 discus, and then 10 discus and then a dozen. Still not 30, but more than, just a couple out front. What I realized was I shouldn't really care that there's not a lot of discus out front. The fact of the matter is these guys are still approaching me and still coming towards me. I noticed from day one, though, and this is important, is that my angels never picked on the discus. The discus never showed interest in the angels. The discus would show interest towards each other, at least to a certain extent, and would kind of butt at each other, peck at each other a little bit. And all of this is normal. What I was focused on is making sure these guys still had fat bellies. So around the first week of adding the discus to this aquarium, I had to feed them through the back of the tank, but only once a day and not a lot because I don't want them to get used to that. I'm a firm believer of feeding your fish where you want them to always be. The front of your tank, front, row, and center. So I always feed front, row, and center where they're expecting to eat, and the fish, a lot of the times, display well. A week into this nonsense of not having any discus show up, things started to slowly change. Discus are slowly starting to come out. They're still attentive to me. They're not darting away. They still look at me and want to eat. But I was able to slowly kind of draw them out to the front. And they're all out there, giving us that splash of coloration that we all want. You might be wondering, why are the discus in this 700-gallon aquarium? Joey, didn't you just set up the 375? And the short answer is, yes, I did just set up the 375, and I wasn't planning on the discus going in the 700. Maybe a little bit, and doing kind of what you guys want. However, once I was facing my home insurance lapsing, and they wouldn't renew it because I had too many uninsurable things going on in my house and too many renovations to happen. I had to shut down Tamara's fish room, and I'm to the point where I'm done missing my aquariums. I'm done missing fish. I miss so many of the fish that we started up a tank and then got rid of it, and I did that because that was supposed to be the whole point of the aquarium gallery, but I just can't see myself doing it anymore. I really want to grow these guys out and let them live their lives here. Because recently we're creating some absolutely incredible environments. However, the discus were originally for the 375, and this is where you guys might get upset. I was going to put the piranha, because I got to take apart the 16-foot. Yeah, I just built that too. But I got to take all the tanks in the house and somehow find a way for them to be in the aquarium gallery and keep all the fish. And I have plans, and that'll come to fruition here soon, where we'll divulge all of that here shortly. But then Tamara's like, why don't you just do what everybody wants? And I said, because I want to do what I want, and I want to have this discus tank, and I want to set it up. She's like, well, they would look really awesome in the 700. That's what everybody wants. Then you don't got to buy another couple hundred tetras. The tank's already established, plus it gives it a splash of color. And I know you complain about not being able to see a lot of the colors in that, but you could definitely see the colors of the discus. And I thought to myself, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. And then she said, here's the kicker. You don't got to put all those piranha in a 180-gallon tank now. Put them in the 375. So that's how that kind of happened. The discus are coming out around 20 to 22 at a time. At some point, these discus will come out in droves of 30. I do find that when there's lots of discus, there's not a tremendous amount of the Ultim Angels coming out at the same time. There's no bickering, there's no fighting, there's no competitiveness for food. I think that the Ultims are also still acclimating. As we're watching this, I filmed this weeks ago. The fish no longer look the same, they're no longer the same size, and I've literally doubled the amount of plants in there. I don't want to see that white sand anymore. It's not natural, it's too aquascapey to me. I want to have this entire tank going wild with 30
incredibly colorful discus, 250 black line tetras, 7 absolutely incredibly hard-working Siamese algae eaters, a handful of pearl gourami, 12 Ultim angels, and then, of course, every other fish that we're going to be getting for this aquarium. And if you want to see any of this moving forward, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Give this video a thumbs up if you think this is my best aquarium yet, or if you could see yourself having something like this. Because in the near future, I'm going to show you everything about this tank and how I made it happen, and all of my little secrets and tidbits that I've learned along the way to start really becoming successful with these incredibly lush planted tanks. Because you guys will personally remember that at one point that was a non-existent time in my hobby, where I could only keep algae and then some of the easy to grow stuff, which would be Java moss, Java ferns, and of course Anubias. But now I'm having massive amount of successes, and I've only changed one thing. If you want to see that video, as well as a complete breakdown of this tank and an update, let me know in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like it again, unlike it, and then like it again. And I'll see you guys in the next one.